Tanner's son aligned lanterns on the porch. He said, "Mama said you'd come if the light stayed on." The match flared, caught the wind, and died. The boy tried again. Struck it slower this time. Eyes narrowed, lips pressed. The sulfur hissed, snapped, glowed. He lit the first lantern, hung it on the hook beside the cracked porch rail. It flickered like it was afraid. He stepped back, counted under his breath. 1. A pause. Then quietly, "She'll see this one first." The night pressed close. Dry air, dry leaves. The house behind him leaned like it had been tired for years. Paint peeled, windows clouded, the roof sagged over the kitchen like a grieving shoulder. He lit the second lantern, then the third. Boots scraped the road. He didn't turn, just whispered, "Mama said you'd come if the light stayed on." The figure stopped at the edge of the yard. Weathered coat, dust caked to the hem, hair tucked under a gray scarf. Her hand rested near her side, half hidden in the folds of her coat. She didn't speak. The boy turned toward her. "You're her." "I might be." "She said you'd smell like smoke." "I do." "She said you'd know my name." He hesitated. "Tell me." "Eben." The boy blinked. "She said you were stubborn, like your daddy. But you got her eyes. You knew her. More than most. She said you'd bring it back. The badge." The woman didn't move. He pointed at the hook near the door. "She left a nail there for it. Said you'd hang it there again." Silence rolled out between them, thick and heavy. The lanterns creaked in the wind. She stepped onto the first porch stair. The wood groaned. The boy didn't flinch. "You've been waiting out here for a long time?" she asked. "Since it got dark." "Alone?" He nodded. She looked past him through the screen door. "Ain't nobody inside. Just her room. It still smells like bread." "I remember that smell." "She said to keep the lights burning every night till you came." "She said that, huh?" "She said if you saw the porch burning like it used to, you'd come home, even if your boots were worn through." The woman took off her hat, held it in both hands like it might fall apart. "She told you why I left." The boy looked down. "Said you had to." "That's true." "Said you didn't get to bury nobody." She nodded. "Said they made sure of it." "She told you who they were." He shook his head. She stepped onto the porch. Wood moaned beneath her. "You sure you want me here, Eben?" "I ain't scared." "You should be." "She said you'd say that too." The woman knelt. Her knees cracked. She reached for the smallest lantern and turned the wick down. "The fire's too high." The boy watched her. "You used to live here, before you were born. You helped build the fence. I helped tear it down first." He didn't blink. "She said you were angry back then." "I still am." She stood. I looked down the road. Nothing moved. No dogs barking. No crickets. "They still come by here?" "Sometimes." "Sheriff?" "Only when he wants something." "Does he know who you are?" "Number." But Mama said he'd know soon enough. The woman walked to the edge of the porch. I looked out toward the shed. "Where is he buried?" The boy stared, then nodded. "How deep?" "Deep enough she never slept again." She turned back toward the door. "You got food in there?" "Some." "Did you eat today?" "Yesterday." "That ain't good." The boy shrugged. She pushed the screen door. It creaked, then settled. Inside smelled of iron pots, old flour, and a grief that had been folded neatly on every surface. The lanterns cast their glow in through the windows, like ghosts pressing in for warmth. A chair sat by the fireless stove. A kettle sat empty on top. The table was set for two. "Your mama set that?" "She sets it every night. One for her, one for you." The woman stared. He pointed toward the cabinet. "The pantry's still got beans. Maybe something in the cellar, too." She crossed the room, opened the drawer. A small photograph sat inside, its edges curled. A woman with tired eyes and flour-dusted hands. A boy with a crooked smile. She kept this. Every night she cleaned it. The woman touched the edge of the frame. "You gonna stay?" he asked. "I don't know." "Are you mad at her?" "No." "She said you might be." The woman leaned against the wall. "I was. But not now." "She didn't blame you." "She should have." "She said it wasn't your fire." The woman turned. "What did you say?" "She said it wasn't your fire that took him. She said yours burned hot, but it never killed." She stared at him like she'd never seen a child speak so plainly. "I think she wanted you to know that," he said. The stove hissed. She turned the knob. The gas caught slow, like it had been waiting. You light a fire every night. Only when it got cold. She taught you well. She said you taught her. She was stronger than I ever was. She wasn't scared. She should have been. The boy stepped closer. You still got the badge? She reached into her coat, pulled out a folded cloth. Unwrap it slowly. A star, tarnished, bent at one edge. That's it? That's it. Hang it. The woman stared at the nail, then at the badge. Please, he said. She walked to the hook, hung the badge where his mother used to hang her apron. It swayed once, then stilled. The boy smiled. Just a little. The woman stepped back outside. The lanterns still burned. She lit another. Place it by the steps. Are you adding more? Every night. How many did she tell you to set? One more than the day before. The woman looked up at the stars. That's a long wait. She said you were worth it. She looked at him, eyes steady. You don't even know me. He nodded. But she did. The wind rose. The flames danced. Somewhere down the road, a screen door slammed. The boy didn't turn. The woman didn't flinch. Inside, the table waited. 2 plates, 1 photograph, a badge hung still. Mama said you'd come if the lights stayed on, the boy whispered. And she was right, the woman said. The lanterns kept burning. She didn't sit. The chair was there, pulled out just a little, like someone expected her to. The boy stood near the stove, holding a chipped cup with nothing in it. You thirsty? He asked. No. You look at it. I'm not. She stayed near the door, eyes on the back wall where the curtain fluttered from some breeze that didn't belong. Her coat stayed on. He set the cup down. It's warmer here. She didn't answer. He scratched the side of his neck. Are you still mad? I didn't say I was. You don't have to. She stepped forward, slow. I looked at the wall. The photographs were gone, just nails left, empty spots where sunlight used to touch their faces. She took them down after the last knock. What knock? The kind that doesn't wait for you to open. Her eyes flicked to the boy. When? 3 months before the fire. What fire? You know what fire is. The woman moved toward the cabinet. Her hand hovered. She didn't touch it, just stared. The boy walked to the back room, waved her along. It's still there. She kept it clean. She followed, slow, boots soft on old wood. The door had no knob, just a hole where one used to be. He pushed it open. Inside, the bed sat neat, quilt folded sharp at the foot. There, he said. She stepped in. I stood still. You can touch it. She did. Her hand barely brushed the quilt. Dust lifted in the light. She folded it before she got sick, he said. The woman nodded. She said it's yours. It's not. She said it was. It's not how she stitched. I didn't say she stitched it. The woman lifted the corner. I turned it in. A name sat there in a faint thread. Mary. It was her name, but not her writing, not her hand. That's not my stitch, she said. I know. Who did it? She didn't say. Color's wrong. She said you'd say that too. She didn't smile, just stared at it. She stitched every night till her hands shook, the boy added. Then someone else finished it. I can see that. She said it needed to be ready. For what? For you. The woman sat on the edge of the bed, coat still on. She didn't lean back. She never blamed you, he said. She should have. She didn't. She stared at the quilt. She buried him. No grave. Then where? He didn't answer. You said deep, she said. He nodded. She looked around the room. The floor had a dip in the far corner. The ceiling had a water line shaped like a crooked hand. She sleeps here till the end. Every night. She sees him? The boy looked at her. Sometimes she'd talk to the air. I'd hear her say, Go on now, let me sleep. Anything else? She'd hum. The woman blinked. What song? I don't know, it didn't have words. She used to hum when she cut bread. He nodded. She hummed after he went. No. Then she wasn't humming to him. No. The woman reached into her coat, pulled out a small cloth bundle, and unwrapped it. A piece of burnt fabric, black at the edge. This from the fire? He asked. Yeah. She never got anything from it. I know. She said it was better that way. It wasn't. The woman stood. I walked toward the window. I looked out at the yard. The lantern still burned. She left the back door open sometimes, the boy said. Said maybe he'd come through it again, just to see how tall I got. She kept his boots. In the hall. Does she keep anything else? A name. What name? She whispered it sometimes. Yours. The woman looked at him. She whispers it angrily. No. Scared? No. Soft? He nodded. She keeps his coat? No. Why not? She said the fire took what it wanted. And me. You walked away. The woman turned back to the bed. I looked at the name stitched at the corner. She stitched the last letter wrong, she said. I know. She always stitched straight. She didn't that night. She was tired. She was finished. The woman picked up the quilt, folded it tighter, blew the dust from the name. The dust clung. She said you'd know what to do with it. The woman nodded. I do. Then do it. She stepped back into the hallway. Quiet. No creak. The photograph in the drawer still waited, but she didn't reach for it. The boy followed. You gonna take it? No. Why not? It belongs here. He opened the front door. The wind had stalled. She said you'd only sit when you were ready, he said. I'm not ready. She said you wouldn't be. The woman walked to the porch rail, picked up the lantern, turned the wick low. She did this every night? Even when it rained. Does she ever cry? No. Does she ever yell? Only once. What did she say? Your name. The woman nodded, then turned back toward the room, and sat. The stove clicked. Once. Then again. No flame. The woman didn't move, just leaned on the edge of the counter, eyes on the dial. You got gas in the line? She asked. I think. You think, or you know. I heard it hiss last week. Have you been cooking since then? No. She bent down, turned the dial, and waited. Nothing. Turned it back. Do you smell anything? No. She reached behind the stove, tapped the pipe with a bent fork, waited. Has your mom ever fixed it? She didn't like it lit. She didn't like the cold either. She said it didn't matter much anymore. The woman stood, wiped her hands on her coat, though they weren't dirty. Matches? In the jar. Top shelf. She reached up, pulled the jar down. Fingers worked slowly, deliberately. Match scraped. My head flared. She held it near the burner. Turned the dial. It caught on. The boy stepped back. She glanced at him. You scared of fire? No. You flinched. He said nothing. Wasn't your fault. He looked at her. Whose was it? She didn't answer. Just moved the kettle to the flame. He sat on the floor near the door frame, legs crossed. Quiet. She leaned on the counter. He used to cook beans at night. I know. Stood just where I'm standing. I saw the scrape marks on the floor. He'd rock his heels. The flame flickered. You think he knew it was coming? She asked. The fire? The rest. The boy looked at her. He said your name the night before. She stiffened. I heard him. You remember that? Clear. What did he say? He paused. It said softly, then quiet. Just once. Number twice. She turned the flame down. You never told her? No. Why? She already knew. The kettle began to rattle. The boy stood. You want tea? You got any? Dried stuff in the tin. Smells like bark. Pour it. He moved to the counter, pulled the tin down, and grabbed 2 cups. The cups didn't match. One was chipped. One had a handle that spun loose. He scooped leaves into both. Waited. The woman poured. Steam rose. Hot enough, she said. He didn't drink, just held the cup. Are you always this quiet? She asked. Only with people that left. She sipped. Is that fair? No. But true. He nodded. She looked at the fire. You know the name they gave me out there? No. Hell woman. He blinked. Sheriff said it once, right in front of the preacher. The preacher laughs. No. Sheriff? Hard. She finished the tea, set the cup down. Why'd they call you that? The boy asked. I didn't burn. His face shifted. They thought I would. Thought I'd snap or cry or run. I didn't. Was Mama there? No. She would have stood with you. I know. He pointed at the stove. She said you fixed it once before. I did. She said you fixed everything once. That's a lie. She said you did. The flame danced low. The woman pulled the kettle off, set it aside, sat at the table. "You know who lit it?" she asked. "What?" "The fire." He hesitated. "Say it." He shook his head. "You scared?" "Yeah." "You think I don't know already?" He looked at her. "Then why ask?" "To see if you'd say it." He sat. Quiet. She looked at the wall, where a calendar hung from 2 nails. The last marked date was 3 years old. A small X over a Sunday. She tapped the table. "Does he ever talk about the governor's barn?" "Once." "What did he say?" "Said the wood was old. Wouldn't take much." "He knew." "Yeah." "Who told him?" "I don't know." "I think you do." The boy stared at the flame. "I'm not here for revenge," she said. "You sure?" "No." She leaned in. "You know who poured the oil?" He didn't speak. "You know who shut the door behind him?" His mouth opened, closed. "You think I came back for peace?" He shook his head. "I didn't." She stood. I walked to the window, looked out. Lanterns still burned. "You gonna tell me his name?" she asked. The boy whispered. 1 syllable. "Rough." She didn't move. "Does that name still crawl through this house?" "Only when it's cold." She turned. I looked at the quilt on the hallway rail. She sewed it after. After. "She doesn't burn easily either." "No." "Does she cry much?" "Only once." "When?" "When the badge came back." The woman nodded. "She threw it on the stove." "Did it burn?" "No." "She said it wouldn't." The woman turned back to the window. "Have you ever seen him again?" "Who?" "The man you named." The boy didn't answer. "She doesn't burn easy," she said. The boy looked up. "That's what she wrote in the corner of the quilt. You saw it?" "No." "She stitched it under the hem." "She never told me." "She didn't need to." The stove hissed. The tea went cold. "I'm staying," she said. "For how long?" "Till it's done." The boy stared at the flame. "You mean that?" "I lit the stove, didn't I?" "Yeah." "Then you know." The knock came like it always did. Slow. Heavy. Twice. The woman was already standing. The boy froze halfway through tying his boot. "Gate," she said. He nodded. She stayed inside, watched through the screen. The shape was unmistakable. Broad chest, stiff hat, one hand on his belt, the other on the latch. The sheriff didn't step in. "Boy," he called. The boy stepped out, quiet, careful. Didn't shut the door behind him. "You alone?" the sheriff asked. The boy didn't answer. The sheriff shifted. Heard the porch was lit again. "It is. Been dark a long while." "She said to keep the lanterns going." "Who said that?" The woman stepped into view. Didn't speak. Just stood in the doorway, arms crossed. The sheriff didn't look at her. "Boy," he said again. "You know who this is?" "I do." "You let her in." "She came in." "She plans on staying." The boy glanced back. The woman's voice cut in. "I ain't decided." The sheriff didn't react. Just stared at the boy. "You know what happened last time she stayed under this roof?" The boy's mouth twitched. "Mama lit a fire." "Yeah, and what rose out of it?" "Truth. That ain't how I recall it." The woman stepped off the porch. Each bootfall is clear on the wood. "Do you come to ask something, or just to breathe heavily?" The sheriff's jaw moved. "You always send a deputy first," she said. "Too soft now." He looked at her. Cold, sharp. "You come back to cause trouble?" "I came back for what's mine." He sniffed. "Ain't much here left for you." "There's more here than there ever was where you sent me." "The town doesn't need your kind again." She smiled. "You mean women who remember?" "I mean fires, blood, division. Funny, those things were already here when I left." The sheriff touched the gate but didn't unlatch it. "Are you staying past sundown?" he asked. She didn't blink. "No." "You sure?" "Real sure." He nodded once. "Good. You know what the law says." "The law got rewritten last time it got scared." He grinned thin and fake. "Still holds. I'm not scared of it." "Your mama was. She died warm." "Not in this house." The boy stiffened. The woman stepped closer. "You leave her out of your mouth. You bring her name back the second you lit that porch. You forget what she did for this town? I remember what burned. And what about the badge in your desk? That hers, too." The sheriff didn't flinch. "I remember what you did the day she testified," she said. He stepped back. "Careful." "I am." "Really careful." She nodded toward the boy. He's got a right to know. He's got a right to peace. He ain't had that since you showed up." The sheriff's fingers curled around the fence post. "You want me to say it?" she asked. "Try. You buried my brother in fire, and you blamed her hands." The sheriff's jaw tightened. "You strung a lie through town so clean, folks still believe it." He looked at the boy. "She's filling your head." "I already knew," the boy said. The sheriff blinked. "She told me everything before she passed." "She lied. She didn't have to." The wind shifted. Dust lifted from the road. The lantern on the porch swung once. The sheriff backed away from the gate. "Don't light that porch tomorrow." "Then don't. Come back." He pointed at the woman. "You step out past sundown, this town won't forget it." She walked to the gate, stared him down. "You ever think we lit the fire so the town would finally see?" He said nothing. "Or maybe we lit it because we were done asking." His boot scraped the gravel. She leaned in. "You're not the only one with a key to the records. I burned those. Number you buried them." He paled just a little. "Keep watch," she said. "You're gonna need it." He turned. I walked slowly. Didn't speak again. Dust trailed him down the road. The woman watched until he vanished past the ridge. She turned to the boy. "You lied," he said. "I did. You staying past sundown?" "Yeah. He'll come back." "I hope he does." The boy walked inside, left the door open. She stayed on the porch. The wind moved again. The lantern flickered and stayed lit. The drawer stuck. The boy pulled again, harder. "It always does that," he muttered. The woman stood behind him, arms crossed. "She keeps it locked?" "Used to." "And the key?" She swallowed it. The room went still. He yanked once more. Wood cracked, then gave. The drawer slid open. Inside, a black ledger, thin as a worn Bible, a rusted badge, a folded cloth. She didn't reach for any of it. The boy stepped back. "She said you'd know what to do." The woman stared at the ledger. "Has she ever opened it?" "Only twice. Once after the fire, once when the sheriff came for her." "She showed you what was in it." "She showed me the red." The woman stepped forward. I picked it up. The spine crackled, pages thin, stained, names written sharp, almost carved in ink. She flipped through, line after line, some underlined, some circled, some crossed out in red. She kept track. The woman said, "Of what?" "Loyalty." She stopped on a name, paused. I looked again. "Don't say it." The boy whispered. The woman traced it with her finger. "My sister." "Yeah." She crossed her out. "Red, like the rest." "Why?" I asked. She didn't answer. "Did she say when?" "Day of the trial." The woman's eyes didn't leave the page. "She came to the porch once," the boy said. "Didn't knock. Just stood there." "How long?" "Till Mama shut the door." The woman flipped to the back. Slower now. Her hand shook once, then stopped. "She was the last name," she said. "Number there's more." She looked. A second page, folded inside the back cover, unfinished. The ink is newer. The names are less certain. Some are only half written. One name stood out, faint, barely readable, just 3 letters. "Me," she said. The boy didn't speak. She was going to cross me out too. She didn't, but she started. She waited. "For what?" "You." The woman shut the book. She looked down at the badge, same one the sheriff had worn years ago before the trial, back when they still called him Fair. She picked it up, hold it to the light. "Did she clean it?" "No." "Why not?" "She said rot belongs to metal like memory belongs to wood." The woman smirked, but her eyes stayed cold. "Does she say that often?" "Only once." "Does she keep this to remind or to warn?" "Both." The cloth was next. She opened it slowly. Inside, a single photo, scorched on the corner. Her sister, her brother, Mama between them. A time before the well went dry, before the vote, before the fire. She stared long. "Does she ever say she missed her?" the woman asked. "No." She loved her. She didn't forgive her. She was right. You don't know that. She stood with the badge. She stood alone. That's worse. The woman folded the cloth back. "She used to say something when she locked this drawer," the boy said. "What?" "She'd whisper it like a prayer." "Say it." He hesitated. "Truth needs locking up till it's too loud to keep quiet." The woman closed the drawer. "You gonna keep it?" the boy asked. "No." Why not? Because it belongs here. She meant for you to find it. I did. She meant for you to carry it. I'm carrying enough. The boy looked down. She placed the ledger back, then the badge. The cloth lasts. She kept every lie in this house, she said. She said lies are just truths that ain't grown yet. The woman turned to him. You believe that? I want to. She put her hand on the drawer. Let it rest there. Have you ever looked in it when she wasn't home? She asked. Once. What did you feel? Sick? Same. She pulled her hand away. The boy whispered, You gonna see her? I already do. I mean at the hill. I'll go when it's time. When's that? When the sheriff knocks again. You want him to? I want him to look me in the eye. He won't. No. She walked to the window. The lantern still burned. You want to cross her name out? The boy asked. Not yet. You still love her. I never stopped. She knew that. Number she just hoped. The drawer clicked shut. Neither of them moved. The lantern's flame rocked slowly in the boy's hand. Dirt shifted beneath his boots as he climbed. The grass thinned the closer they got to the top. The woman followed. No questions, no coat. He stopped by the fence post near the edge. I looked down at the well. She used to come up here after dark, he said. I know. She'd never take more than one lantern. Same as you. She said light made him quieter. The woman stepped beside him. The well looked shallow from above. It wasn't. She told you what she heard, she asked. Not in words. What then? She'd come back shaking, sometimes smiling, sometimes not. The boy set the lantern down on the stone lip. You think she heard him? She asked. I don't think she was talking to the dead. She didn't reply. He knelt, tapped the stone once like knocking a door. Sometimes it answers. The wind crawled through the grass, slow and dry. The lantern flame leaned. Does she ever bring you up here? The woman asked. Only once. Why? She said I needed to hear what I came from. The woman knelt too, hands on her knees, eyes on the dark hole. You scared of it? He asked. No. She was. She had reason. He stood. Talk to it. What? Talk to him. Or her. Or whatever's down there. She looked at him. Have you ever heard someone say your name? Number just hers. The woman breathed in slowly, moved closer to the well. Go on, the boy said. She leaned over the lip, whispered. I came back. The wind went still. You hear anything? He asked. No. Try again. She looked into the dark. It wasn't my fire. A soft shift below. Water or breath. Then, Mari. She froze. The boy stepped back. You heard it. Say it again. She stared. Mama said it would say it differently to you. The voice came again. Lower. Slower. Mari. The woman stood. Fast. Stepped back from the well. The boy's face was pale. That wasn't wind, he said. No. She said it started after the trial. I believe it. She said it only spoke when it wanted something. The woman grabbed the lantern. We're leaving. Are you scared now? No. But you're shaking. I remember that voice. They walked downhill, quiet at first. Was that him? The boy asked. No. Then what? Someone pretending. The boy stopped. To what end? To remind. They passed the fence. The lantern still burned. Her hand was tight on the handle. She said the well wasn't always like that, he said. I know. She said it used to give water. It gave more than that. She said it watched. The woman didn't respond. Have you ever dropped anything in it? A lie? The boy stared. Do you ever get it back? No. They reached the porch. She hung the lantern back in its place. The boy sat on the step. What do you think it wants? He asked. Truth. It already has that. Number it has what's left after. The boy nodded. She said one day it would stop whispering. He said, she was wrong. You gonna go back? When it calls me right. It already said your name. That wasn't the right way. The boy looked up at her. What if it's waiting for the badge? It already had the badge once. She dropped it. She did. Did it speak then? Number just took it. He looked toward the hill. You think it'll speak again tonight? No. Why not? It said enough. The boy pulled his knees in. The woman stood by the door. I think it's him. The boy said. It's not. Then who? The ones who stayed quiet. The boy nodded. You think Mama's down there? He asked. No. You sure? She wouldn't stay in a hole. She did for a while. Not this one. The wind shifted again. Not cold, but not warm. The lanterns didn't move. She said some voices come back softer, the boy said. She never heard yours. The woman replied. They stood in silence. Then she said, Light another tomorrow. Same place? Same time. He nodded. She opened the door. I looked back once. The well was hidden now, but the hill felt taller than before. The woman sat at the table with the quilt folded across her lap. The boy stood by the window, arms crossed, chewing his lip. You sure? He asked. She didn't answer. Mama said not to. She's not here. She said it was meant to stay stitched. The woman slid the knife from the drawer, not the sharpest one, just the one she used when the truth needed opening. She said it's not just thread in there. I know. She slid the blade under the edge of the seam. Slow. The fabric pulled tight. She cut. The boy stepped back. The quilt opened like a wound. Inside, old linen, paper thin, sewn between layers, tucked deep. She peeled it free with both hands. It was a drawing. Faded. Child's hand. Charcoal, dirt, something darker. The edges scorched. The color smeared. 3 crosses on a hill. A fire drawn beneath them. Red marks slashed over the sky. At the bottom, one word scratched in. Him. The boy stared. That's where Daddy went. She looked at him. You sure? I saw it in dreams. That hill. Those crosses. Have you ever drawn this? No. Does she ever show you this? No. You think she made it? She wouldn't. Then who did? He didn't answer. The woman laid the drawing flat on the table. Her hands trembled. The room was still. She stitched over this, she said. 4 times. You counted. I watched. Does she use red thread? Dark brown. It looked like blood from far off. She stared at the child's scrawl. What's him mean? Not a name. A place. A message. He nodded. She was trying to tell someone. Or warn. The woman stood. I walked to the shelf, pulled a book down, flipped through until she found the map, one the town used for the harvest runs. She pointed. That hill? North side. Have you ever gone? No one does. Why not? They say the ground doesn't take shovels. She turned. You believe that? I believe Mama did. The woman rolled the quilt back up slower this time. The cut edge folded inward. The drawing stayed on the table. She stitched her silence, the woman said. She stitched her fear. She knew somebody'd find it. She hoped you would. She told you that? She didn't have to. The woman looked at the door, then at the boy. Have you ever seen her bleed? She asked. Once. When? Night the sheriff came for the first time. Where? Right thumb. She stabbed it with a needle on purpose. The woman went still. She wiped it on the thread, the boy said. Before or after she stitched? Before. The woman sat back down. Then she marked it. Marked what? The truth. The boy stepped forward. You gonna take it to the sheriff? No. Why not? He already knows. You think he made the crosses? No. You think he watched? Yes. The woman folded the drawing, slipped it in her coat. The boy's voice dropped. You gonna dig it up? If I have to. Alone? No. I'm not scared. You should be. But I'm not. The lantern outside the window flickered, then steadied. She said the truth was heavier than death. The boy said. She was right. The woman placed the cut quilt on the chair. It looked smaller now, lighter. Burn it? He asked. No. Why not? She gave it shape. It gave her nightmares. She carried them for a reason. The boy reached out, touched the corner. The thread was rough, stiff. She did it in the dark. He whispered. The woman nodded. Sometimes that's the only way. They didn't speak for a while. Then the boy asked, You think she's watching? I think she's waiting. For what? For me to do what she couldn't. The woman rose. I walked to the door. Are we going now? He asked. No. When? When the lanterns all face north. That'll take time. I know. You think he's still out there? No. Then who's waiting? She looked out into the dark. The hill wasn't visible from here, but it pulled at her like a hand through the earth. Whoever buried the truth and prayed it wouldn't grow back. The boy picked up the knife, cleaned it with the edge of his shirt. She said blood makes thread stronger. She was wrong. Then why didn't it break? The woman didn't answer. She just lit a fresh lantern and placed it by the torn edge of the quilt. The attic door groaned when she pulled the cord. Dust fell in strips. The boy held the lantern low, waiting. "Have you ever been up there?" she asked. "Once." "When?" "After she passed." "What did you find?" "A bed. Just a bed." She nodded, started up the ladder. Boards shifted beneath her boots, but they held. He followed. The lantern shook in his hand. The room was colder than the rest of the house. Dry. Still. A single bed sat under the sloped ceiling. The mattress was clean. Too clean. No sheets. No pillow. Just wood and space. She stepped toward it. The boy stayed near the opening. "Have you seen this before?" she asked. He nodded. "Who put it here?" She didn't say. The woman knelt, ran her hand along the underside of the frame, carved deep into the wood. Clara. She froze. "Who's Clara?" the boy asked. The woman didn't speak. He stepped closer. "You know her. She was a witness." "For what?" "For the fire that came before the one they blamed us for." He tilted his head. "She was supposed to testify," the woman said, and then she vanished. He knelt beside her. "You think she stayed here?" "I think she was kept." He looked at the bed. "Mama never told me." "She wouldn't." "Why not?" "Because if she did, you'd tell someone." "She trusted me." "She didn't trust the town." The woman stood. I walked to the back wall, pressed her fingers against a loose board. "You think she's dead?" he asked. "No." "You think she ran?" "No." "Then where?" "She's still here." "In this house?" "In this story." The boy walked to the corner, tapped the floor once with his boot. "There's no trap door," he said. "She didn't need one." "You think Mama helped her?" "She helped all the girls who couldn't speak." "You were one of them?" "I was the loudest." The boy looked at the name again. "Governor's daughter?" "She was 17. "Why'd she come here?" "She believed the sheriff was lying." "He was." "She knew too much." "And they shut her up?" "She vanished the morning of her testimony." The boy looked toward the window. "You think the sheriff brought her here?" "No." "Then who?" "Her mother." The boy blinked. "She dropped her off in the night," the woman said. "Slipped her through the side door and prayed the porch light stayed off." "You saw it?" "I was here." The boy sat on the edge of the bed. "Feels cold." "She slept on wood for a reason." "She was hiding?" "She was remembering." "Remembering what?" "The screams from the barn." He flinched. I looked down. "She didn't just vanish," the woman said. "She was erased." He whispered, "Like Daddy?" "Number worse." He didn't ask what worse meant. She stepped toward the old trunk in the corner. I opened it. Inside, a comb, a faded blouse, and a small shoe. The boy pointed. "That hers." She wore both when she walked in. "Only one now." The woman ran her hand over the leather. She left it behind. "Why?" "So someone would find it." "You think Mama ever saw her again?" "No." "You think she lived?" "She slept." The boy stood. "We shouldn't be up here." "We already are." He looked at her. "You scared?" "No." "You should be." "I already was." She sat on the bed. "The governor said she ran off." He lied. "He said she was troubled." "She wasn't." "He said she made it all up." "She didn't." Silence hung heavy in the room. The boy whispered, "Did you know her?" "Not long." "Did you believe her?" "Right away." "You tried to help?" "I told her to stay quiet." "Why?" "Because I was scared." He sat beside her. "You still are." She looked down. "I deserve to be." They stared at the carved name. "She had freckles," the woman said. "Used to count them to stay calm." "How many?" 17. "One for each year?" She said one for each truth she still carried. The boy touched the carving. She was brave. She was forgotten. The woman stood. I walked to the ladder. "Leave the lantern," she said. He hesitated. She might still need it. He set it on the floor beside the bed. As they climbed down, the light stayed steady, and for the first time in years, the attic didn't feel empty. They came before sunrise, 3 men on foot, one with a rifle he didn't bother to hide. The others kept their hands in their pockets. The sheriff led them. The boy saw them first. He was on the porch, sweeping ash from the last lantern. "They're here," he said. The woman didn't look up. She was tying her boots slowly, carefully. "You gonna run?" the boy asked. "No." "You gonna lie again?" "No." He watched her stand, coat already on. She stepped outside. The sheriff didn't speak. His men spread out along the yard. None of them crossed the fence. "Came to put the lights out?" she asked. The sheriff nodded at the lantern. "That one's still burning." "They all are." "Shouldn't be." "Yet here we are." One of the men stepped forward. "He's coming with us." The woman looked at the boy. "Are you going?" "No." "You sure?" "I said no." The man with the rifle shifted. "Don't make this hard." "You're already too late," the boy said. The sheriff spoke low. "He's got questions to answer." "He's got nothing to give you," the woman said. "Are you teaching him that?" "I'm teaching him to remember." The sheriff walked to the fence. "You think lighting a few lanterns makes you right?" "Number." "The ledger does." He stilled. "The one your badge is still rusting beside," she added. The sheriff narrowed his eyes. "That book doesn't mean a thing. It meant something when you took names. Be careful. You buried the wrong woman." He flinched just slightly. "She wasn't the one who lit the match," the woman said. "And you were." "I watched her die holding the truth, while you walked free." One of the men moved toward the porch. "We don't have to ask again." The boy stepped in front of the door. "You're not taking me." "You gonna stop us?" "She will." The woman didn't move. Her hands stayed down. Her voice is calm. "You take him. You'll start something that won't end here." The sheriff looked at her. "You think I'm scared of ghosts?" "You should be." Another man pointed at the hill. "Where did she keep the secrets?" "That's where you buried your witness," the woman said. "No proof of that." "There will be." The sheriff shifted his weight. "You dig up that ground, you're breaking the county line. No lines left here, just graves." He stepped closer. "You say another word, I'll drag you back like before." She didn't flinch. "Try." The wind picked up. The lanterns didn't move. "You light those again tonight," he said. "We'll come with fire." The boy spoke. "It didn't work the first time." The sheriff turned. I looked at him hard. "You think you're safe with her?" "I'm safer than I ever was under your watch." "You got his mouth." "Number I've got hers." The sheriff's face darkened. "She stitched his death into the quilt," the boy said. "But she stitched yours beside it." The men shifted. The woman walked to the gate. It opened slowly. "You want to step in?" she asked. The sheriff didn't. "You want to burn this house?" she asked. No one answered. "Then leave." The rifleman looked at the sheriff. "She's bluffing." "She never bluffed," the sheriff said. The woman leaned forward. "Ask your badge what it cost her." He turned. I walked back toward the road. The men followed, slow, angry, quiet. The woman stood at the gate until they were gone. The boy picked up the lantern. "You meant it?" "Yes." "You think they'll come back?" "Not tonight." "But they will." "Yes." He looked down the road. "Why didn't he look at me?" "Because he saw you too clearly." "He's scared." "Of what you remember?" She walked to the porch. "Saturday." The boy joined her. "Have you ever told her that?" he asked. "What? That he buried the wrong woman?" "No." "Why not?" "She already knew." They watched the light dance in the glass. "Should we light more?" he asked. "Not yet." "When?" "When we're ready to see what comes." The boy leaned back. "He's not done." "No." "He never was." "But we are." The wind shifted again. The sky stayed dark, but the light stayed on. The bucket creaked as she tied the ledger to its handle. The rope was stiff from years of dry wind. The boy crouched by arms resting on his knees, watching her work. "You sure you want to do that?" he asked. She didn't look up. "It's not mine to keep." "You could have burned it." "No." "Why not?" "Fire frees things. I want this to stay buried." The boy glanced into the dark. It's deep. I hope so. She tightened the knot, double-wrapped it. The leather cover had started to crack. Some of the red ink had already faded, but the weight of the names hadn't. The boy stood. You think he's still in there? No. You think she is? She wouldn't stay. Then who's gonna hold it? She looked into the well, cold, still. The ones who always have. He leaned closer. You ever hear it whisper again? Not since it said my name. You think it'll speak when it gets the book? No. Then why now? She didn't answer. She gripped the rope, lowered the bucket slowly. The ledger dropped into the dark. Rope slipped through her fingers. Steady, quiet. Halfway down, the wind shifted. The flame from the boy's lantern tilted, then straightened. She used to say she had a good mood, he muttered. It does. She said she listened. She was right. The bucket reached the bottom. The rope went slack. The woman let it go. They both stood silent for a long moment. You think they'll come back up? The boy asked. No. You sure? I think they'll drown this time. He looked at the well like it might breathe. She said your name was in there too. He said. It was. Have you ever seen it? No. Have you ever written one? I almost did. Why'd you stop? Because she never crossed it. She almost did. She didn't. The boy looked down again. You think he's down there screaming? No. Then what's he doing? Waiting. For what? For someone to believe he was clean. You think he was? No. The wind picked up again. The bucket moved slightly. Rope groaned. She turned. I walked toward the fence. The boy stayed by the well. You feel better? He asked. No. Then what was the point? She looked back. Some things you bury to forget. Some you bury so others can't dig them up. He nodded. You think she'd be proud? No. Why not? She'd say I took too long. He smiled a little. She opened the gate. Are you done with names? He asked. I'm done with ledgers. You gonna write a new one? No. Why not? They already know who they are. The wind calmed. The well was quiet. The light stayed on. She carried the first lantern with both hands. No flame this time, just glass, cold and clean. The boy followed with the second. The third rested crooked on the porch rail behind them. You remember which is which? He asked. I do. Even without names. They didn't need them. He nodded and walked behind her, boots soft in the dirt. They passed the shed, the broken shovel propped where his mother last left it. The ground beyond sloped into silence. 3 mounds, no markers, just soil packed too even. The woman knelt by the first. That's where she put him? He asked. Yes. She told me once it wasn't his first grave. She told me that too. The woman set the lantern down, dug with her hands. No shovel, just fingers pressing through hard dirt softened by the evening heat. The boy said nothing. She reached down into the hole she'd made, placed the lantern sideways. Flame still unlit, covered it slowly. Dirt packed tight over glass. That was for him, she said. He nodded. She moved to the second. You remember who this was? He asked. She said it was the one who watched. I watched and didn't stop. The woman paused. Watch and call it justice. She placed the second lantern in. This one cracked on the side. She didn't fix it. Why not light them? The boy asked. Because they saw the light and chose the dark. She moved to the third. This one, he asked. She said this was the girl who stayed quiet. He looked at the ground. Clara. She slept in the attic and didn't scream when they knocked. She was 17. She had a voice. The woman buried the third lantern deeper than the others. Took her time with the dirt. The boy whispered, You think she forgives us? She forgives you. You. No. The wind moved through the grass behind them. The house didn't make a sound. She stood, pulled something from her coat. A badge, dull, edges bent, metal cold from being kept too long. You gonna bury it too? The boy asked. She didn't answer, just walked to the last grave, pressed the badge flat against the dirt. I stared at it. He wore it proudly, she said. He never earned it. She took a rock from the shed wall and placed it on top. Just one, just enough to keep the wind from blowing. That's not much of a headstone, he said. It's more than he gave her. The boy didn't argue. They stood there in silence, 3 unlit lanterns below, a badge above. She said you'd come back to bury something, the boy said. I came back to bury myself. You're still breathing. Not like I used to. He walked a few steps closer. You gonna light the porch again tonight? No. You're scared they'll come back? They already have. What now? Now we stop waiting. The boy looked down. What about the others? They know where these are. He looked back toward the porch. Feels like they're still watching. They are. From where? Every room that was kept a secret. She took one last look at the mounds, wiped her hands on her coat. The dirt clung. You done digging? He asked. For now. You ever gonna tell the town? They already know. He nodded, like he'd known that answer before asking. Are you going somewhere? He asked. No. Then why's your coat still on? Because I don't trust stillness. He held out his hand. She took it, rough and tired. They walked back toward the house. The porch light stayed off. The graves by the shed didn't need watching. They remembered enough on their own. The porch creaked. The boy's head rested against her thigh. He was still holding the matchbook, half used, edges damp with sweat. His breath had slowed. His boots were off. One sock was torn. One hand curled like a question mark against her coat. She didn't move. The lanterns had burned all night, 7 of them. One for each name she remembered, one for the ones she tried to forget. The house behind them was quiet. No wind, no creak, no ghosts in the rafters. The woman watched the sky turn, soft blue, pink rim on the far ridge. Light not yet strong enough to reach the graves, but close. Are you asleep? She whispered. The boy didn't answer. She reached for the last lantern. It hadn't been lit. Not yet. It sat on the far end of the rail, wick untouched, glass clear. She held it in her lap, pulled a match from the book, struck it. The flame caught. She lowered it into the glass. I watched the wick pull it in. The light flared, then settled. The boy stirred, eyes cracked open. That's the last one? Yes. You waited. I had to. He sat up, rubbed his eyes with his sleeve. What time is it? Almost. He looked at the flame. Where's it going? Nowhere. You gonna stay? No. He blinked. Are you leaving now? Before the rest wake up. They won't stop you. They shouldn't. He stood. You need boots. Not for where I'm going. Are you going barefoot? She looked at the rail. Mama used to walk the orchard that way. He nodded. She said the land talked softer when you had no shoes. She wasn't wrong. He looked toward the woods. No one ever searched that way. I know. They thought the trail stopped at the creek. They thought wrong. The woman stood. She picked up the lantern, held it against her chest for a moment, then set it on the rail. Who's that one for? He asked. No one. He frowned. But you said, it's not for a name. Then what? A warning. He didn't understand. He didn't ask again. You want me to wait here? He said. Yes. For how long? Until the flame dies. He looked at the lantern. That could take hours. Good. She stepped off the porch. Her bare feet touched the dirt. You're not taking anything, he called. No. Not even. Water. I won't be long. You said that last time. She stopped, turned halfway. I didn't say it to you. The boy stepped off the porch, walked to her slowly. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. There's no proof down there. There never was. Just silence. You scared? Yes. But going anyway. She touched his cheek. Stay here. He reached for her hand. Hold it. You come back. No. He let go. She turned and walked across the yard, past the graves, past the fence, past the place where the sheriff last stood and said nothing. She stepped into the woods. The light behind her flickered once, then steadied. The boy sat back down, pulled his knees to his chest, watched the flame. The forest hadn't changed. Same brittle leaves, same hollow sounds, same breathless air that made her feel like something watched. The path curved sharp where it should have gone straight. She followed it. There were no birds, no creek, only stumps and roots and silence. She stopped by the stone. It wasn't a grave, just a marker, flat, wide, with a crack down the middle. She'd placed it there years ago, not for the dead, but for the memory of what never got found. She knelt, pushed the brush aside, dug with her hands. The ground was dry, but soft. She didn't dig far, just enough to find the edge of the cloth. She pulled it up. A coat, small, torn, burned at one cuff. She unfolded it, fingers trembling. Inside the pocket, a whistle, a ribbon, a key with no lock. She laid them on the stone. "You waited," she whispered. The woods said nothing. She sat, cross-legged, hold the key in her palm. She closed her eyes. "You were the first to believe me," she said. Stillness. "You were the last to be buried." Her fingers curled around the ribbon. "I left the light on." She looked up. The trees didn't move. "You saw it." No answer. "I'm sorry." The wind rose, just enough to lift the edge of the cloth. She pressed her hand to it. "Your name still sits in the drawer." Her voice cracked. "But I won't write it down." She leaned forward, laid the whistle beside the roots. "Let's call someone else now." She stood, took one last look at the stone, the coat, the broken key, then turned. The boy hadn't moved. The lantern still burned. He kept his eyes on the woods. Didn't blink. He saw her figure return, bare feet dark with soil, hands empty. She stopped at the porch. "You found it?" he asked. "I did." "You bury it again?" "No." "Then what?" "I gave it back." He didn't ask what that meant. She sat beside him, quiet, no weight to her movement. He looked at her hands. "You didn't keep the key. It doesn't open anything anymore." He stared at the flame. "You want to blow it out?" she asked. "No." "Why not?" "You said it's a warning." She nodded. "Let it burn." He leaned into her side. She didn't move away. "Where do we go now?" he asked. "We don't." "We stay here?" "Yes." "Till when?" "Till someone knocks for the right reason. And if no one does." She looked at the horizon. "Then the light stays on." They sat still, side by side, porch worn. The sky is pale. And behind them, a house with no secrets left to hide.